Under the bright lights of the Copa del Rey final, with the match still hanging in the balance, manager Carlo Ancelotti made a surprising decision. He pulled Rodrygo off the pitch to make way for Kylian Mbappe. Rodrygo walked off in silence, his expression blank. But just days later, the headlines exploded. Rodrygo reportedly wants to leave Real Madrid. He feels he is no longer valued the way he once was. From being an indispensable part of the Champions League winning campaign in the year 2022, Rodrygo now appears to be slipping out of Real Madrid's long-term vision. He has been subbed off early in El Clasico, frequently benched in crucial fixtures, and his form has dipped noticeably in the second half of the season. According to reports in Spain, Rodrygo is going through a deep mental crisis. Since the final, he has almost vanished from the media spotlight. He is spending most of his time at home, seriously reflecting on his future. The feeling of being phased out of Real's long-term plans has led him to consider moving on. Several European giants are reportedly monitoring his situation. Manchester City, Arsenal, and Paris Saint-Germain are said to be keeping close tabs. Since January, Rodrygo has not registered a single goal or assist in La Liga. Despite continuing to work hard and contributing tactically, he is no longer seen as central to the club's identity. The arrival of Mbappe and the cemented status of Vinicius Jr have made the left wing overcrowded. Meanwhile, Rodrygo has been shifted to the right, a position that is not his natural strength. It is no surprise he feels disheartened. After 6 years of loyalty, professionalism, and hard work at Real Madrid, his future in the Spanish capital now looks increasingly uncertain. Real Madrid's stance has also changed. In the past, whenever transfer rumors surfaced, the club would shut them down immediately. Now, there is silence. No statements, no reassurances for the fans. According to sources in both England and Spain, if an offer of around £85 million arrives, Real Madrid is open to negotiations. That is not a huge price for a Brazilian international, 24 years old with Champions League experience and a contract running until the year 2028. Setting that valuation signals that the club is open to parting ways, even if they are not actively pushing him out. Just a few months ago, Rodrygo turned down a lucrative offer from a club in Saudi Arabia. Back then, Real still stood by his side. But things have changed. He is no longer considered untouchable. The gap between him and the main core of the squad is growing more obvious. Real Madrid is entering a new era, one built around emerging talents, where the fight for a spot in the attack is more intense than ever. Yet the lack of clear direction regarding Rodrygo speaks volumes about the club's hesitation. If they choose to keep him, they must define his role. If they choose to let him go, they must accept the cost. Losing a player once, tipped to become a new symbol at the Bernabeu. Even if he is no longer at the center of attention, Rodrygo remains one of the most consistent attacking threats for Real Madrid in recent years. So far, he has been involved in 118 goals across 267 appearances in all competitions. Only Karim Benzema and Vinicius Jr have contributed more directly to the team's offense during that span. What makes those numbers even more impressive is the context in which Rodrygo delivered them. He has been regularly pushed to the right, asked to adapt to multiple roles, and has often started from the bench. Maintaining consistency under such circumstances is something very few players can achieve. At 24, he already brings top-level experience, while still having plenty of room to grow. That mix makes him a highly valuable asset for any elite club. More than just stats, Rodrygo has been the balancing piece in Real Madrid's attacking structure. While Mbappe and Vinicius often clash over space on the left, it is Rodrygo who provides width and balance on the opposite flank. This season in La Liga, he has created 21 chances from dribbling situations, third in the league behind only Lamine Yamal and Vinicius Jr. Within Real Madrid, Rodrygo ranks third in total chances created, behind only Vinicius and Luka Modric. These figures prove he is not a mere supporting act. He plays a direct role in the team's offensive rhythm. What sets him apart is his attitude. He never complains when played out of position, always tracks back to help in defense, and remains mentally focused. In the eyes of Jude Bellingham and many others in the squad, Rodrygo is the most selfless among the stars. In a dressing room filled with big personalities, he is the glue that holds things together. Real Madrid may not fully realize it yet, but if they let him leave, they risk losing one of their most tactically vital pieces, one that will not be easy to replace. Selling Rodrygo might bring in £85 million, a sizable figure to help reshape the squad. But beyond the number lies a chain of risks, technical and emotional. First, Rodrygo is extremely hard to replace. He understands how Real operates, thrives in the Champions League, and is adaptable to any tactical demand. Real Madrid might be able to find a faster player. They might even find someone who scores more goals. But finding another forward willing to sacrifice himself for the system the way Rodrygo does, that will not be easy. If they decide to sell him, they will be forced to sign a high-quality right winger, and that is a position with very few trustworthy options on the market today. The transfer market is ruthless. One wrong decision can cost you points, even trophies. And this situation goes beyond tactics or statistics. Inside the dressing room, Rodrygo is quiet, drama-free, always professional, and genuinely humble. Losing a player like that, without a clear replacement, can unsettle the team's internal chemistry. Real Madrid, the win, is a club that constantly looks ahead, but sometimes the price of not looking back can be steep. If it is not absolutely necessary, parting ways with a player who still holds value and has not yet reached his peak could become a regret they carry in the future. Rodrygo is not a failed signing, he is simply in the middle of his developmental journey. 6 years wearing the Real Madrid shirt may sound like a long time, but most of that was during an age when other players are still fighting to find their place in the professional game. To judge Rodrygo solely on this current season would be premature. He has decided matches in the Champions League, he has rescued Real Madrid in moments that looked utterly lost. Players like that, even when they fade into the background for a while, must be placed in the right role at the right time. Real Madrid is a club obsessed with instant success, but many times in the past it was patience that bore fruit. Karim Benzema needed years to grow into a leader. Luka Modric nearly got discarded after his first season. Vinicius was doubted for his inefficiency, and Rodrygo could walk a similar path if given just a little more time. When a player has the technical foundation, the right mindset, and has already proven himself on the big stage, sometimes the only thing he needs is patience. If Rodrygo leaves Real Madrid this summer, it will be a shock, but not an impossibility. The issue is not his ability, the question is whether Real Madrid still wants to build a system that includes room for Rodrygo. With the current direction, Real appears to be prioritizing explosiveness, speed, and immediate impact in the final third. Names like Kylian Mbappe, Vinicius Jr., and Jude Bellingham fit that approach better, and in that context, Rodrygo gets pushed down the pecking order, even though his value remains crystal clear. Unless Real changes how they structure their squad for the coming season, the possibility of Rodrygo's departure becomes increasingly realistic. And if that happens, he will not be short of options. Manchester City, Arsenal, and Paris Saint-Germain are all ready to roll out the red carpet. In an environment with less pressure, more space, and greater freedom, it would surprise no one if Rodrygo exploded into an even more dangerous version of himself than what we saw in Madrid. The question now is whether Real Madrid is willing to adjust to keep him, or if they will simply let him go and begin the search for someone else. This is not an easy decision, because with a player as full of untapped potential as Rodrygo, any hasty move might be one the Santiago Bernabeu lives to regret.